Okay, this is the part where you start to realize this definitely isn't a Sonic game because the levels take for fucking ever to complete.
Which, I kind of like that.
It
The
it, it
longer
works.
levels,
It
I
works
don't
for
mind that.
this style of game.
Yeah.
I mean, but if it were an actual Sonic game trying to actually be a Sonic game, I wouldn't like it so much.
Like Heroes, those levels are kind of obnoxious
Well,
sometimes.
no. It's only a problem in Heroes, in my opinion, because you have to go through everything 4 times.
Well, no. The
Yeah.
fact that some levels are like 10 minutes long is obnoxious to me.
And repeat, like Egg Fleet. You play the same thing twice.
Well, here's the thing. Your traditional Sonic style game is designed to be replayable because you're playing for better times and speeds. This game doesn't even this game isn't trying for that kind of appeal. It's actually more of a one playthrough per every so often kind of game where it's not trying to be stage based. It's just sort of a run through the adventure game.
Worth
And
every
I guess I
penny.
would say the big difference between what makes a 10-minute level kind of annoying over this is that there are checkpoints that not autosave. Well, like, that's a problem I have to talk about. But like, there are checkpoints that if you save at, when you boot up the game again, you will start at that point. So it's not like you have to redo 10 minutes of the whole level just to finish it.
Yeah.
But there is a problem with the lack of autosave in this game, where you manually have to go to save and quit. Because if for some reason the power goes out, or you have to go and you just forget to save and quit, if you turn your game on and come back, you'll be at the start of the level all over again.
Ugh.
That happened to me during this playthrough. You'll see. But the other thing. What was the other thing? I lost my train of thought. God damn it! I hate when that happens. The other thing I want to mention though is with regards to the level design, because well. Oh, actually, what I wanted to mention was the hydro dashing, because we completely ignored that the first time it happened. This level introduces hydro dashing, which while you were in the hub world the first time, you saw these weird rings that you could walk through and nothing would happen. Tails and Sonic in particular, not the other two characters, just Tails and Sonic, can walk through these rings and start running on the water. And when they do, the other two characters try to follow them and drown. But
Good. They sing the song of Atlantis.
but you see, this actually confuses me because Sonic, in this continuity, seems to need a power-up to run quickly. There are boost rings on the speed tracks. There are hydro dashing rings for running on water, and he can't run on water without them. I guess it makes more sense than him just arbitrarily deciding to speed up when he feels like it, like in 06, but at the same time, it just kind of... It feels like he's...
It removes some of the cool element of Sonic, in my opinion.
Well, to be fair, guys, if you check out Sega's the website for Sonic Boom, in the main canon, he's known as the fastest thing alive. In the Boom franchise, he's the fastest thing alive. ... with assistance from power-ups.
I must have missed that part.
Well, the way I interpreted it is that it's just in the case of like there's not really like you could run fast here like in this sort of beat 'em up section, but what would you really accomplish other than like because it's a cramped in area. Like I think really like the option to go fast whenever you want would make sense during the hub world and it would make them a little bit less annoying, but during these main sections, you're going to be going at a jog just normally anyway, because that would be the most convenient speed to get through all of the platforming and puzzle solving crap that you'd be doing.
To be relative, not to the Sonic series, but to this particular style of platformer as it usually comes out, the Sonic characters here are actually quite a bit faster than, say, Jak and Daxter or Rayman or I haven't played the Sly games. I don't know. How fast does Sly Cooper go?
It's pretty standard.
No, it doesn't really matter because the hub worlds are so big though. It's like because I'm thinking about Banjo-Kazooie in particular. You're right. Banjo moves an awful lot slower than Sonic does, but the levels are compact more, so you're traveling more relative space. Like I don't know if I'm making any sense. Like,
No, that makes sense to me.
That is kind of another example where I would agree in terms of 06, the hub worlds are far too big for as slow as you go. Like there's no need, especially when you get to the hub world where Styx is. I got lost there so much because it's too big for its own good.
yeah, no,
It's
I
too
got
big
lost
and
there
badly
too.
designed.
And yeah, it's too big, and the map is, the map doesn't give you a sense of direction. Like it tells you where it's at, it tells you where you're at,
Yeah.
but it doesn't tell you what direction you're facing.
There should have been. I mean, like, again, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but at least in 06 they give you a map on screen you can follow, so it's easier to find
Sort
your
of.
way.
Sort of.
They gave you a mini
They
map.
they try and help you in 06, all right?
They tried a lot of things and it failed.
I'll say, I don't like the hubs in this game much, but they do have more interesting stuff to do in them than the '06 ones.
Yeah, break treasure chests and find crowns. Whoop-de-fucking-do.
Well, that's more than you can do in 06.
Yeah, could you do that in 06? No. Although, to be fair, in 06 you can rescue a dog.
I'm not even referring to the collectibles. I'm referring to what you do to get them. There are all these scattered little platforming sections and everything all around. And that's a little more interesting than just jumping around on rooftops in a hub world that's designed to look like a real city, which is boring. But I'm not saying they're good. I'm just saying I rank them a bit higher, is all.
One thing I will say that's nice about the hydro dash sections, there's no reason to do this, but if you decide to stop, you won't just fall through. You can stand there.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
It's a power-up, so it's not a matter of, he's defying physics, or that you're just already doing that. But.
So I like to go for a nice leisurely stroll over the water.
Oh, so you like to pull a Jesus?
Well, yeah. Thank you, Ken Penders.
Being able to stop during hydro dashing would, I think the hydro dashing sections where you need to actually explore and collect things would be completely broken without the ability to stop, especially since one of the hydro dashing sections, in particular the one right before Bygone Island, is literally just broken and glitched up to fuck. And I'll show you that when we get there, because it's actually kind of hilarious how many problems.
It is advisable to never stop moving when you're in a hydro dash section, because for some reason Sonic has tank controls when he's hydro dashing.
What he basically does while he's hydro dashing is, if you want to stop, it's kind of like stopping in Sonic and the Secret Rings with the option to turn around.
Oh god. Well, one thing I want to bring up in terms of the combat, when we were shown early trailers and like people playing this at E3, I think it's maybe just because the sections they showed off were very inner beam heavy, and so I was kind of this is the big bag of coin ring. I love that. It's so dumb. It's like, what the hell? I was kind of nervous that the entire game would just be inner beam, and I will say, I ended up using it a lot less than I thought I'd have to. I will say, though, most of the bosses do require it, but just in terms of the actual gameplay itself, it wasn't as inner beam heavy as I was fearing it would be, which is I guess a good thing.
The inner beam is clunky. It's too clunky for what it sets out to do. For one thing, one of the functions that the AI shows off a lot is that you can use the inner beam to pull enemies towards you, but if you let go of the button just in time, you won't pick them up and throw them, so you can basically use it as a makeshift devil bringer. Yank the enemies towards you and then beat the living shit out of them.
The Devil Bringer was what I was thinking of when I used the enemy for the first time. It helps that we already recorded a bit of DMC before we played Sonic Boom.
I haven't played that game, so that reference lost on me.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
The Devil Bringer is basically basically a hand that you can reach out a great distance and snatch enemies towards you, so that you don't have to bother closing the distance yourself.
Well, then just say snatchy hand. Don't use
yeah, but the
terminology
thing here is that the difference between the Devil Bringer and, say, the Inner Beam, from what I remember from DMC, was that enemies didn't struggle when...
Yeah.
It's instantaneous. You snatch them. It's like Scorpion's Spear from Mortal Kombat, honestly.
Yeah.
I get that reference.
Oh, there you go. See? Wonderful.
Here's the thing. Okay, the struggle it makes it hard to time when to let go of the button, so that you can just melee them. Otherwise, you're going to throw them away again. That's no good for closing distance, is it?
Well, to be honest, I didn't ever use the Inner Beam to bring enemies closer to me, because Sonic's Spin Dash does that for you, so...
Yeah, but, it's something that the AI does literally all the time if you pay attention to how they fight. Because the AI is a lot more competent at the game than you when it comes down to combat. It's the one thing it does right.
That's the one thing I did appreciate. I like that they took away the shields for me, so I never had to focus on that.
Although, I will say, especially when you're on something like a cliff, I find throwing them off the cliff is a lot more time consuming than trying to fight them. So I actually like just being able to throw them away.
I would have appreciated more combo potential with combination. Because, one thing I don't think we really commented on was just the combat in general, which I just think is too simplified for its own good. compliment the Werehog. I think it did a better job, even though I don't think it was necessary to begin with.
You said that exact line almost word for word in your review.
Yeah. I'm just bringing a mention. People don't watch my
rehash.
Maybe don't watch my channel. They watch BrainScratch.
I watch your channel, but just rehash.
No, I think what the game wants you to do is switch between characters mid-combat to keep combos up, which I think is...
Did you do that though?
I do like that gag.
I will not advise doing that, and here's why. Because whenever you switch characters in this game, you switch to wherever they happen to be when you left them, which is fine for platforming sections where everyone has their own path, but in combat it's just disorienting. And there's a lot of disorienting shit in the combat as it is. Like when you get hit, rings fly everywhere, and there's no recovery time, so you're gonna get hit again right after that, sending more rings flying around. It's all visually distracting, and that makes it harder to see even more stuff, and so you get hit again.
Well, I don't think Ted's saying that's what you do. I think that's what they intended for you to do.
Yeah, because there'll be times where, like, you're fighting as Sonic, and then the robot's dead, and there's nobody anywhere around you, and so by the time you get to another robot, your combo's gone. So I think they want you to switch to Tails, who's in the middle of fighting a different robot, and keep the combo going, because your combo stays no matter what character you're controlling. So I think they wanted you to do that. Like, you know, I'm not saying that they succeeded. I'm just saying I think that was their intention.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. But one of the issues that I constantly ran into is that the AI of the enemies specifically always seems to know which character you've just switched to in time to hit you right after you switch. like there'll be an enemy that I swear was focusing on Amy. And the moment I switch to Knuckles, that enemy will just turn straight toward Knuckles and fire a blast at him. I'm like, thanks, okay. And I guess they did that so that you couldn't constantly switch characters and avoid the AI that way. At the same time, though, as like you know, it's really easy to not die, but at the same time, I feel like I take a lot of cheap shots, especially because the projectiles in this game are actually pretty fast. Like in previous Sonic games, projectiles would move pretty slowly, even if like it was an Eggman robot firing a gun at you. So you would have time to react and dodge. But in this game, not so much.
Well, in Shadow the Hedgehog with the world's slowest moving bullets.
Oh, hey, I actually did what I was talking about earlier. Pulled the enemy toward me and let go in time to avoid throwing him off the cliff.
I mean, I just want to go off what Johnny said. I mean, I agree the Werehog is a lot more... that you can do a lot more with the combat, but for me, the fighting sections in this are a lot less tedious than they were in Unleashed.
Well, here's my counterpoint to that. You could do a lot more as the Werehog, but at the same time, the options that you had, just on average, had less utility. Like I recorded Unleashed for the channel already, and whenever we get to that, you're gonna see me using the same handful of moves a lot, and the only reason I ever upgrade the moves in the first place is so that I could get like to level 15 or so, where you get the charge up punches that
Sherry Hawkin.
that wreck everything. But they're really high on the move list, so I had to go through a lot of useless upgrades to get to them.
Discussing the option of what the Werehog gave you is a different discussion, but I can just say that the Werehog had more in general.
Oh yeah.
More doesn't necessarily mean anything if there's only like.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's a different argument to discuss.
But you know, I would have preferred to have more options than what this game gives us either way. Like maybe throw in a timing combo or something. All you have is one melee combo. You have charge up moves for your regular melee attacks. You have the enter beam. You have the stomp, and you have the special attack that varies between characters.
Yeah, like teamwork is a big focus in this game, like a super team attack, like in Sonic Heroes.
Well, it's they're trying to have simple controls, but you can have simple controls and still have technical elements. Like I can't believe I'm bringing it up in this context, but look at the Dead or Alive series. It's got the most fucking simplistic control scheme any fighting game has ever had ever. You have one punch button, one kick button, a throw button, and what was I don't even remember what
counter.
the fourth button
I think
was.
it was counter.
And then there's the hold button, which is also the block button. But you can do a lot of shit with just those buttons.
Well, I mean, it's not entirely fair to compare them, but even like it's like Hyrule Warriors has a pretty basic control scheme. You can do a lot more in terms of combos and such.
Yeah. Although honestly, I never really look at the combo list in a Dynasty Warriors game.
Oh well, I love Hyrule Warriors. It's the second
it's a damn
best
good
Zelda
game.
game after Link's crossbow training, which is clearly superior.
Oh snap!
Shots fired.
Get it? It's a crossbow training game. You said shots fired. I got that. That's good. That's a good one.
But unless if it's the especially in that game with some characters oh fucking Agatha, I hate her. I'll only ever use like 2 of her combos, even though she's got like 5 because most of them are useless.
Oh, here it is. Uh-oh.
So I think it's I will say for a point in Sonic Boom's favor is that although there is not an awful lot of variety, I did use everything that the game has to offer, as opposed to in some other games.
Because it didn't give you much to begin with,
I
Ted.
was gonna say, guys, this is the best cutscene in the game. Look at Shadow's animation here; it's so good.
Oh,
good.
Shadow,
Look-
hi. How are you?
Look
today?
at him look down the floor for no good reason. I love this bit. Wait for it. Look at him. Look. Looks down and then look at his eyes shake. I love that. It's amazing.
Why is he even here? Like, I love Shadow. He's still my favorite Sonic.
I don't know.
Ted, because fans wanted him here. That's why.
That's literally the first thing that Tails says when Shadow shows up. What are you doing here? You never get an answer.
Hey, Shadow has clear. I know everyone has been like, what's Shadow's motivation? Shadow has very clear motivation. He's jealous. Sonic has friends.
Okay. You want to know what this battle reminds me of? Now that I've actually had a chance to appreciate it, it reminds me of actually the first thing I thought of when I saw this game's brawling when they were showing it off early on. It reminds me of Sonic Battle.
I will say though, like in terms of story, for as pointless as Shadow is, this is actually one of my favorite boss fights in the game.
No, it is my favorite boss fight because it's very dynamic and Shadow's fun to beat the shit out of, but it's just. I like this.
Yeah.
I like Shadow as a character. Some of his lesser story appearances aside, and there's so much they could have done with him in terms of Sonic Boom. Like, and they just, they throw him in.
They're gonna fix his backstory.
Yeah.
I got into an argument about.
Do you want to build a snowman?
I got into an argument with someone about this when they misunderstood my point. They thought I said they turned him into a generic character. What I actually said was they turned him into an even more generic character than he already was, which is an accomplishment in a way. But he's just a complete douchebag anti-hero here who does nothing but say he can be the better hero and then try to beat you up.
I would say there's a great in most playthroughs I've seen this, and the one that I recorded in that cutscene where Shadow kicks Tails in the face. 99% of the time, you'll hear Tails say, "We did it, Sonic!" Right? He's getting booted in the face by
Boot.
Shadow. It's hilarious.
That's another recurring programming issue with this game where they won't cut off the in-game dialogue when cutscenes or cutaways happen.
Yeah. Pay attention to Sonic's model here after the fight ends. Because I can't be the only one that sees that, like, Sonic temporarily becomes a Shadow clone, as redundant as that fucking sounds.
It might have just been, his spikes flopping upward.
I mean, it's like a lighting issue. We're gonna see it pretty soon here because you're kicking Shadow's ass.
I was really hoping they change the backstory and make Shadow Sonic's brother, just to piss off everyone online.
You know what I was hoping for? I was hoping Shadow was gonna have flesh-colored arms.
Oh man, but in terms of design, Shadow's design is like the most unchanged out of all of them, except Metal Sonic, who's Metal Sonic is completely unchanged.
Well, to be fair, Tails just has Tails' model is pretty much identical. He just has a goggle and a belt.
Yeah, but Shadow, the only design change to him, when you discount how oddly lanky he looks in this game, the only design change to him is that his socks and gloves look a bit different. Like his glove cuffs specifically, just his cuffs.
Well, does he have I wasn't paying attention. Does he have the weird ring things that he has in the main series?
He does, but they're smaller.
There's the bendy arm that makes no sense. I'll say that is my favorite line delivery in the entire game by Roger Craig Smith. He just violently kicks Shadow into a portal. What happened to Shadow? He says that like so like nonchalantly. It's hilarious.
Okay, now I'm just gonna say Sonic Boom made me actually really like the new voice actors for Amy and Knuckles. I was kind of iffy on them beforehand. I really like them now. I can't stand Shadow's new voice. It might be my
Yeah.
I'm with Ted on that one.
Yeah,
I like Kirk Thornton.
Ted, is it the voice or the direction?
I think it might the direction might have something to do with it, but because we don't really have much of his voice outside of this game, but it's just I don't like the way that he does it here. It's just he's trying. It sounds like he's trying too hard.
Ted, have you watched the cutscenes to Free Riders? Because Shadow has a lot of, like, Kirk Thornton, new Shadow, who's also Orbot, has a lot of dialogue in that game.
No, I have not. Why would I be looking up cutscenes to Sonic freaking Free Riders?
Because you can watch static images and listen to voice acting.
Here's my thing, okay? It sounds like Kirk Thornton is actually trying to imitate the original Shadow voice rather than, Jason Griffith's version. But at the same time, it sounds like a really bad imitation.
Well, see, I don't mind it. I will admit, I mean, like, to be fair, apart from Free Riders, which most people didn't play, like, the most we heard of Kirk Thornton's Shadow was, "You've got this, Sonic." And I will say there is an improvement from that.
Come on, Tails, clear the thing. Yeah, he made it.
there is an improvement from Generations, but I just think, like, to be fair to Kirk Thornton,
he had one line.
He's never really given much to do in these games. And, like, let's be fair, like, I mean, I said I like that scene, but he's given some of the worst dialogue. "You know what makes you weak? Your pathetic friends." Like, oh, okay. I didn't realize we were in a Disney after-school special. My bad.
Nobody knows. No, Sega has not known what to do with Shadow since. I would say, I know someone.
Since SA2.
Yeah, basically since SA2.
Yeah, Shadow in this game is that kind of person you find in a PSA for kids. Is trying to get you to smoke drugs.
This is your brain. This is your brain on Chaos Emeralds. Any questions?
Well, no. Do the Chaos Emeralds exist? Because he's using Chaos Blast and shit.
No, to be fair, the Stephen Frost, before he completely went offline forever, he did say that he did say, basically, he said that the Chaos Emeralds may exist, like that they aren't in this game. It's possible they are.
Which means he doesn't fucking know or doesn't fucking care.
If we get a sequel, which good luck with that at this point in time. But if they get a sequel, they may have brought them back, but. I don't know.
Well, they have sequel bait in this game, and in fact, to be fair, it's fairly okay sequel bait, or it would be if Sonic 4 hadn't done the exact same thing.
What sequel bait? Eggman's evil, and he's probably going to try taking over the world again?
Well, see, the thing is, I don't get the sequel bait is Metal Sonic comes back, but to me, it's like he's a robot, he can be rebuilt. Like, is that really a shock?
The sequel bait is sinister glowing red Metal Sonic eyes.
Yeah, it's just Metal Sonic comes back online, which he just remake him. Like, Metal Sonic gets destroyed in the comic books, like every other issue. Like, it's not really a big shock that he's gonna make a new one.
But I'm actually curious about Metal Sonic because, well, this is getting a bit ahead of ourselves. But later on, when Lyric takes over Metal Sonic, he says, "I'm going to upgrade your code." What kind of upgrade? What are we talking about?
Do as Lyric does.
Are they planning to go the Sonic Heroes Knuckles Chaotix route with Metal Sonic, or what?
Well, it doesn't matter because he was under Lyric's control when you fight him, and Sonic still beats him. So if there was a change to him, I guess it would have to be Eggman's fault.
Yeah, not to mention that, again, at the end of this game, Eggman takes Lyric's device that lets him control machines.
Which he has in the cartoon, so it's a perfect prequel. It's a perfect prequel to the cartoon.
It makes total sense. The deepest lore.
Is this like the third or fourth episode?
It's a moot point. Whatever Lyric did to Metal Sonic doesn't matter because Eggman can now, with the press of a button...
No, he has it on his arm. He hasn't done jack shit with it, but it's part of his model in the cartoon.
Oh, okay.
Actually, what I'm getting at is that the way Lyric phrased it after taking over Metal Sonic, he phrased it like his upgrade to Metal Sonic's code was some kind of a favor to Metal Sonic.
Yeah, but he also acts like he and Sonic have some kind of big backstory. But as we're gonna see, 10 seconds. 10 seconds is all they have.
By the way, am I the only one who thinks of Aperture Science when I see the abandoned factory and the time travel version of it?
I think more of Halo.
And the floating head, the floating robot, even.
What was it? What was it? Also, no. What was the name of the Guilty Spark or something like that?
Guilty.
Yeah,
that's it. Guilty Spark from Halo 1. Yeah.
Yeah, Guilty Spark.
Maybe I'm just being dopey, but I kind of get a Portal vibe when the Maya.
Yeah, it looks like one of the personality cores. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can I can definitely see that.
Yeah. I like Maya. She's for the amount of time she's actually on the screen, she's got some amusing dialogue.
I could have done without her cool. That to me kind of killed her character for me. It felt like why would Lyric program this robot to be like cool?
Why would Lyric program a robot to betray him?
Because he's an idiot, alright?
Why would Lyric program Quincy? But you know, I actually get the sense that Lyric didn't create Maya or Quincy, but rather they were given to him when he was still working for the Ancients, which is a stupid name, by the way. Why do the Ancients call themselves
It was the Ancients? Were they always ancient?
They were called the Moderns in their time.
No, they were called. It's actually mistranslate. They're Cetra.
No, they're actually their name is actually New Kids on the Block.
Lyric just wants to go back to the Promised Land.
Yeah.
He's trying to find the Great Valley.
That's one of the things that bugs me about this story here, though, because Lyric calls the Ancients, even though he lived at the same time as them. He even calls them the Ancients here in this time period where he's literally plotting to overthrow them.
Where he works with them.
Yes.
I mean, we're gonna get to that, but I think one of the biggest. They keep talking about the Ancients, but I have never seen this guy before.
They're probably a bunch of otzels.
But you know, there's this thing where finding this stupid turtle kind of
Random.
Oh yeah, the Ancients. The fact that we don't see any of the Ancients apart from Lyric, I think is a massive missed opportunity.
Also, this was the side quest we picked up in the hub world before.
Well, like, we don't even know what they look like. Are they snake people like Lyric or what?
Well, we don't know.
They're rabbits.
Well, they were briefly in the book that Cliff was flipping through. They look like snake people, so they were snakes in like big robes, and they seemed taller than Lyric in the one page you saw them. So
Lyric was the runt of the group. That's why they gave him a stupid name and make him do all the grunt work.
I want to call attention to something, though. This is the side quest we picked up in the hub world, where you're supposed to travel back in time and warn this guy that he's about to poison his crops for generations. But, you know, it's so randomly placed that I can't help but wonder if the time travel section of this game was supposed to be more substantial, maybe even given its own hub.
I think it was because when they were like doing reviews, they said time travel would be a big part of the story. But I don't view this kind of just this one little level.
No, the time travel aspect is brought up for this chapter, then completely dropped after this.
thank God.
Yeah, in a sense, bullet dodged because I'm completely with you. I don't need time travel anymore.
Sonic CD sucks.
You know, my issue with it is that the turtle guy, when you meet him in the past, is just randomly sitting inside Lyric's laboratory. Why is he there? Why is a farmer sitting in this high-tech laboratory? Why is Lyric, who hates organic life, have this turtle guy working in one of his computer rooms?
Lewis, you asked too many rational questions about this game. They didn't care.
You know why, Lyric? Because that turtle's goal, his dream in life, was simply to find the computer room.
Well, he found it, all right.
Get your goddamn plugs out of here!
Thank you. I'm here all week.
It's just so blatantly out of place compared to everything else in this game that I can't help but think it was meant for something else.